everybody. Things are different today. Usually it's your trauma talks, and your trauma talks is on hiatus. So I wanted to come on today to let you all know that that is happening. I do not want to leave people who have followed me on this platform, who have uh, checked out that experience, to suddenly miss out on it. I want to be responsible and respectful. And as we do this journey together, I am working on myself too. And I just want to say, Raw is incredible. There is no animosity. Whatever came up, which stuff did come up, has been worked through. And if you do like your trauma talks, if you've been watching that show, can you do me a quick favor and go over to, you can search up Thursday Trauma Talks and go over to Raw and give them some love. There's multiple platforms. There's the Your Trauma Talks, and then there's he has a couple of other pages on there that you'll find that'll come up with the episodes. You'll see me on there. You'll see some more guests on there. But what I want you to do is go send them some love. Let them know that you enjoyed the show and that you are looking forward to our next episodes, whenever those may be. Raw needs to take care of himself. And this also goes to how you can take care of people that pour their heart, soul, and so much into what they do and create. Oftentimes we feel like it's always going to be there and that they have everything they need. And really, we get to step up and support those that we value, that we get a lot from, and that we love. And I know Jenny, shout out to Jenny. Hopefully she'll see this. She showed up at the event, and she's one of those people that 100% support, love, and show up. So before I do a deep dive into what I'm going to be doing at this time, I would like you to do something, please. For the love of goodness, throw some money at Raw. All right, this is Venmo. Do it. Okay, I don't care if it's $1. I don't care if it's 50 cents. Show the man some love for all of the work that he puts in, because he does put in a lot of work. And when a lot of energy is spent and not a lot is returned, you got to take a break. And so no hard feelings. But if you want that show to come back, which I definitely want that show to come back, I think we've definitely supported a lot of people, and it's going to come back a lot quicker if we all step up to support. So his Venmo is Y as in yellow, L as in lion, E as in echo, W as in watermelon, R as in Roger, A as in apple, H as in Henry. So type that in, send him some love. Hopefully that'll go through easily. I know sometimes you need their phone number, but hopefully not. Send him some money. Okay? So just wanted to put that out there first and foremost, because this is awkward. I'm not used to coming up and doing shows on my own. I feel like I'm babbling. I just don't feel that energetic flow. It's hard to bounce things out there, but what I'm going to do, it's going to be a shorter episode, and maybe I'll make this a reoccurring podcast. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And I would really love your feedback on this, and maybe some insights as to, hey, I would love to see this happen, or, can you talk about this, or I'm dealing with this situation. What insights do you have around that? A lot of this is going to be about intuition. So as a running joke, when I was on a platform called AirChat, and if you look back at my videos, and I'll be posting some more, you will see some posts that are directly from AirChat conversations. And my profile on AirChat used to have the moniker of powered by intuition. And this is so true to how I operate in life. We do have abilities that are a little that's interesting. Abilities that science really hasn't done due diligence to study. things of meditation, consciousness, in that realm of esoteric and metaphysical physics and all of that good stuff that is kind of like segmented in a way so we just can't connect the dots because we know we're powered by electricity. Our heart uses electric impulses to work, and yet we kind of segment that and disenfranchise certain things, even though you're like, well, you're kind of electric, so energy is energy. And what is this energy that we kind of can tap into these different forces or collective consciousness? All these beg to have deeper discussions, more studies, and yet that's kind of not happening. And you have these things in different regards where the dots aren't put together in a linear fashion for people to really go, yeah, that makes sense as to why some people have psychic abilities and why some people can predict certain things, or why we get dreams about certain things, or why we can just tap into kind of the atmosphere in a way. You know what I'm talking about if you're an empath. So, as with your Trauma Talks or Trauma Talk Thursdays, if you've watched those episodes, please go watch them, not only on Obscurum here, but on your Trauma Talks and then the other platforms that Raw has. You just got to search it. Okay. It'll come up. It'll come up if you look up Trauma Talk Thursdays. That's the sure bet way to bring up the episodes. And go watch some of those. I'm going to be clipping them and I'll be dividing them up into shorts for, that little pow of inspiration. And then I will also do like the long form clip of my talk during that show. And I'm going to carry that forward of where I just kind of tap into things for the week and do a discussion. Well, it's not really a discussion. It's kind of like a one-way thing, but hopefully it will be a discussion on this. Of course, I got nobody on right now. So if you are on, would love to see you in the chat. But if not, hopefully you are watching this afterwards. But feel free to leave comments on where you'd like this to go, or if you'd like me to discuss on specific topics, because that's kind of been that through line. And I want to keep that going in this space of change of whatever comes. And I know that there are talks of some exciting things that are happening where it will be completely unfiltered, no holds barred, might piss some people off. That's okay. That is okay. Because I, as a coach, am not here to placate you. I am here to help you to level up, to challenge you, and to inspire you to keep going. Not only this day, but the next day. So, with the event, as an industry person, I realized something. And how abusive the industry can be. And this should probably go on Trauma Behind the Glamour, another show that Raw does. Please go check it out as well. But there was a completely different vibe, different understanding, and different experience as me stepping into a space that is in entertainment industry space, which is in actual Broadway theater, and having a bunch of people that aren't really in the industry like that. And some unpleasant things did happen. And it reminds me that no matter what I do or what I can say to try to support a person in making the best decisions, they will still make their choices. And when we sit there and make our choices, we get to take on the reckoning that happens with those choices. So there was an incident that happened where it shouldn't have happened. A person was warned about not touching things that aren't theirs. And they were in the room multiple times when I brought people in, gave them the rundown as a person who's been in the theater, did it in high school, I was in high school with major people, by the way, like Mikey Day, Saturday Night Live. Um, there is a manner of respect. So first thing I did when I walked in, I greeted a locations person. We're cool. We had to go toe to toe last time. So like there is that understanding and respect of like, don't mess with me and I will not mess with you and I will support you type of thing. So that was already kind of prepackaged there. And as we go in, she wanted to show me some things, with the stage and all that stuff. And so my daughter's there with me and she's like eating something. As we go in, I stop her at the door and I'm like, do not bring food into here. You do not bring food into this theater. This is a premium theater. You stay out in the lobby with that food. And the woman turns to me and she's like, thank you for that. And I'm like, anytime, theater girl, I know the drill. So yeah, that was the precursor. That's a mannerism of respect. I'm not going to allow my kid to leave crumbs in a theater that I know has a heart out and then straight into a next event. And then I know to respect the props as a theater person. You respect the space. Like you don't touch things that aren't yours. You don't shuffle things around. Like even if it looks ubiquitous or like something random. So there were props that were like paper, a pen, but how I could tell those are props because of painter's tapes marking on a table. And so I made sure to point out that to people. However, someone still, regardless of the words came out of my mouth, chose to not only touch items, but showcase an item that was not theirs. And they got chewed out. And they had a very hard time dealing with the consequences of their actions. And that helped me to realize like, A, I can't protect you. B, yeah, the industry is a lot like that. It can be very, I equate it to being a mafia because there are these paradigms of respect. And if you come in with disrespect, they will verbally cut you and maybe blacklist you. You might not get work again. And the industry is very much like that. And if you make a really bad spectacle of yourself in bad faith, in bad business, in not listening and not respecting, it's not going to work out. And it's not fun dealing with that. But it's like that didn't feel like anything out of the ordinary to me. And that's not necessarily a good thing. It's not necessarily a good thing to have that sort of behavior happen to the person, even though it is the consequences of their own actions. It's that twofold paradigm, right? Like I shouldn't champion that, which I don't champion that. Like I spoke to her myself afterwards and was hoping that the person didn't see it, but she got word of it. Because when the people came back and was like, I was like, oh, I am not happy about this. And was like, hey, that you were in the room when I said this, don't do that. But yeah, then I could tell that she already kind of was like, oh, I messed up type of thing. But then she got written a new one. And, it's like, that isn't good. I've been in the room with a person doing a full-on temper tantrum where an individual is like, I'll protect you. And I'm like, no, you're not going to protect anything. Like if anything was thrown at me, it would have ricocheted right back as a headshot. And that would have been the worst case scenario. I would have been fine. But once again, it's like, it highlights these things of when you grow up in a contentious household, when you grow up in a lot of hostility and animosity, and you have that as like your norm, it's not a good thing. Like that is an aspect of trauma. That is an aspect of like, hey, you need to be aware of this, so that you're not thinking that's okay to carry into relationships, right? And I have had the unfortunate regard of having like a temper and taking that into a relationship. And that does not work out very well, especially when you're dealing with someone that is really good at triggering you and then leverages that in a way of, having narcissistic tendencies. And it comes back to like when you let that be your norm, it's not going to be fun for you. That's not a way to live life. And then if you bring that into relationships and then ask, why are these not working? Or why did that person react that way? Or, what's going on with this situation? And you're bringing that in, you only have yourself to look at and to work through these situations. So, very, very challenging. And it's like we build up that tolerance to animosity. Some people actually need that. You'll see that online where some people just go after you for no reason. You're like, what's your problem? And then they're like, oh, but this is great. I'm fine. This is fun. And I'm like, no, it's not. And there is a distinctive line between what's banter and what is growing up in a contentious household and feeling like that's okay to be that way, and that is a show of, or that is how to connect with someone, because a lot of people feel like that is a way to connect because they grew up in that and that was the only idea or ability they had to connect with someone. So it makes it very interesting as we go through the world and deal with different personality types and deal with these different situations and really take a step back and look at it and go, well, that wasn't good, but that wasn't good to begin with. And that not good thing kicked off this not good thing. But how do we come together and how do we work through these situations when we each have these different upbringings, these different things that we bring with us wherever we go, the bag of drama, the whole trunk of history and our experiences and what we think is good and what we think is not good. And that's a question that I sit there and consider a lot. And that's kind of part of what I do, how I've gotten into coaching is because, well, a lot of what brought me to the space was dealing with a lot of trauma, dealing with a lot of people with narcissistic tendencies, and working through my stuff first and foremost, getting away from those situations so I could discover myself and then work through these things. And so the things that I recognized or was able to call forth is understanding these tendencies aren't going to go away. I see a lot of these tendencies being brought up in coaching spaces where they really don't belong because we're supposed to be helping people. But sometimes coaching is really aggressive. Sometimes it's not just, hey, yay, I'm your cheerleader, because people get to be pushed out of their comfort zone. That is the whole idea of coaching. But there's a line between, actually seeing a person, recognizing where they're at, and then just working these mechanisms as if everyone is running on the same template. And it's like we have neurodivergent people that really are not being served and supported by the coaching market. We have people coming from different walks of life that are not being served and supported. And that has been a disservice that I've noticed. So all that comes back to like, how do we create a cohesiveness? How do we create community? How do we get ego out of the way? How do we deal with people with different mental health issues, with different situations, with different histories? And how do we come together to really begin to see each other as human and have those human to human connections and interactions when sometimes our trauma butts heads with trauma, and it creates that rift or a big boom. And so that is part of why I created the Resilience Journal, so that we can begin to break down these barriers that hold animosity against each other or create these rifts with each other. It helps us to step into our leadership, so that when we see these situations go down, we can de-escalate, that we can work together, that we can see eye to eye, human to human, and not, on one hand, pedestalize people, which is a sure fall from grace for that person that is being held up because they're being put in a light, not of who they are, but of a glamorized view of who we want them to be, and that's not actually them. So when they act human and that defies lofty uh our lofty ideas of them, then it is their fall from grace. And then we get upset at them, and then they're like, well, why did you, that's not, and they're upset because they're not being seen or heard. And likewise, when we pedestalize someone, we are diminishing and demeaning ourselves in that. And that is something to watch out for when we're trying to deal human to human. And so I'm going to keep these episodes short. I'm going to keep them relatively within the same niche: health and wellness, self-help, self-empowerment. Those who are here following Obscurum, you are my luminaries. You are those who are listening and learning, and I am proud of you. And thank you for being part of this community at this time, 171 strong. Thank you so much for that. And I am looking forward to growing this into something that becomes an incredible shift in the world. And it won't change the whole world. It'll change a segment of it, and hopefully bring us to a better space of having a peacefulness. But even that, looking back at my great grandparents' life, yeah, that's, they pretty much went through these same types of challenges. So who knows what life should or could be. But all I can say is we've got to live it one day at a time and deal with the situations right here, right now. Not get into things that are outside of our grasp, but deal with things here at home, so that we can do our best and prepare for the things that may come, that may not come. But be ready to support your community, be ready to have each other's backs. And likewise, I'm proud of those in Los Angeles out here who are stepping up, and I will always support the Hispanic community. This is, in my view, knowing history, knowing that Los Angeles is in Spanish, yeah, this is a space for Mexicans, and I can't even call them illegal. And people are sitting there trying to be like, well, we have boundaries. Well, your boundaries are on stolen land. So, yeah. And to hear that from immigrants is a trip that I do not like to hear. So, but within that, more things are to come. Stay tuned, and welcome to Powered by Intuition. And I look forward to doing this on a weekly basis. Hopefully people will come on. This is awkward. It's always awkward being solo on something. So I look forward, well, it's awkward for me. Probably not awkward for a lot of people, but it's very awkward for me to do this. So I would love to have feedback. Would love to get some insights. If you are like, hey, I'd like to hear you do more of this, great. We can talk manifestation. I mean, talk a lot of stuff. And also, a fun thing on manifestation that happened this week. Someone on TikTok on the clock app. I don't know if YouTube's going to take me. I don't know. Anyways, there was a great post about manifestation and it was a lot of fun. And then I posted, yeah, the universe, if we're sitting there and saying that we want to manifest one thing, and then through our actions, our behaviors, and other ways, we're telling the universe we want the opposite, or that we don't want that. Then the universe is like, yo, what do you want? What do you want? And then the conversation expanded into a specific niche on that, something that I have been guilty of myself, where it's like I'll be, hey, I want to increase money. I want to increase the inflow of money. And then I will feel like being generous and I'll give something away. And the person's like, no, 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 no. I'm going to pay for it. And they'll be like, no, 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 no. It's for you. It's for you. And then they're like, oh, I'm going to pay for it. They'll be like, no, 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 no. And then the universe is like sitting there on my shoulder, like, excuse me? I thought you said you wanted money and here you are rejecting it. What do you want? What do you want? So that's a little thing, a little zinger on manifestation. When you want to manifest something, you need to commit to that something 100%, or you are confusing the signals. So same thing when it's like you ask for something and then you complain about an aspect of that something coming through. It makes it very challenging to manifest stuff. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with that little thing to run with, especially if you're trying to manifest things in this season, which I feel like things are manifesting a lot quicker. So be careful what you say, be careful what you wish for. Okay. And with that, thank you for joining in on the first episode of Powered by Intuition. I may have guests. I don't know. I'm going to just commit to this on a weekly basis to fill in for your trauma talks. Maybe your trauma talks will come back. Maybe it won't. I don't know. No promises. But I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you for watching, and I wish you a good one wherever you are. Bye.